The movie kicks off with some real tension. We see Long Wei, a young duck with big dreams, and the commander, a stubborn leader from another flock, stuck in a cage. They've been captured by a pair of sneaky thieves named Qi and Chang. Long Wei keeps trying every trick he can think of to break free, but nothing works. The thieves already know his every move and block his attempts before he even has a chance. Now, the story jumps back to the 3 days before all this went down. One morning, Long Wei walked up to his dad, Peng Li, who was in the middle of practicing kung fu with his mentor. Long Wei had something on his mind. He was frustrated. He complained to his father because what he really wanted wasn't kung fu training or island life. He wanted to learn how to fly, to break free from the little island they lived on, and explore the whole wide world. But Peng Li didn't see it that way. He reminded his son that ducks can't fly. Instead of chasing impossible dreams, Peng Li told Long Wei he should focus on developing his console game project, something he could do right there on the island. Peng Li wanted his son to be safe, stable, and grounded, not chasing after something that might never happen. In the middle of their conversation, Peng Li's mentor accidentally dropped his kung fu book. When Long Wei picked it up, he noticed something interesting written inside. The book told the legend of the sun duck, a special duck born once every 100 years, destined to save the world from dark creatures that wanted to steal the sun's energy. Hearing that story made Long Wei's curiosity burn even brighter. But both his father and the mentor tried to brush it off. They told him it was just an old made-up tale, nothing real. What Long Wei didn't know was that the story wasn't fiction at all. He himself was the sun duck mentioned in the legend. His dad knew the truth, but he begged the mentor to keep it a secret. Peng Li didn't want his only child to be crushed under the heavy responsibility of saving the world. While all this was happening on Long Wei's island, somewhere else nearby, Qi and Chang were up to no good. They were in the middle of pulling off a robbery at a busy market. During the distraction, one of them started talking loudly about the sun duck legend, that in 3 days, the sun duck would rise up against the dark monsters. Their act didn't last long though. The local police showed up, and Qi and Chang had to make a run for it. They dashed into an abandoned railway tunnel, but just as they thought they'd gotten away, a huge train came roaring out of the darkness. On board was a mysterious woman named Sheena. She wasn't there by accident. She had traveled specifically to this city because she wanted to find an ancient temple. People warned her that the temple was cursed, haunted, and abandoned for more than 100 years. But Sheena wasn't scared. She was determined, and she was even willing to pay anyone who'd take her there. The big payment caught the eye of a local trader, who quickly agreed to guide her. Qi and Chang, seeing an opportunity, also decided to follow along. They weren't interested in temples, though. They planned to rob Sheena of her valuables. Back on the island, Long Wei was still chasing his dream. He sneaked into his room, gathered up some supplies, and tried once again to practice flying. The problem was, no one had ever taught him how, and he was terrified of failing. Just when he thought he was alone, a group of flying ducks showed up out of nowhere. These ducks were on a migration journey, and leading them was the commander. The flock thought they had finally arrived at their destination, Hawaii. But when Peng Li told them they were actually in China, the commander refused to believe it. He was stubborn and insisted they'd made it to Hawaii. The disagreement escalated fast, and before long, Peng Li and the commander were in an all-out fight. From a distance, Long Wei watched, totally caught up in the action. In the chaos, he slipped and accidentally hit the village's warning bell. The loud clang stopped everything. Peng Li immediately pulled back and hurried to meet with the island's elders. They knew the threat of the dark monsters stealing the sun's energy was real, and the unexpected arrival of these migrating ducks just made their situation even more complicated. Peng Li and the mentor decided they needed to drive the visitors away to protect their island. In the middle of their serious discussion, Long Wei showed up and told them he had seen the commander and his ducks hiding inside the island's food supply warehouse. Long Wei even offered to help chase them out, but his father refused and ordered him back to his room. That rejection really hurt. Long Wei felt useless and ignored. So, against his father's wishes, he went to the warehouse alone. That's where he met Erica, the commander's daughter. She admitted she wasn't supposed to be here. She had been punished and forced to join the trip because of her rebellious behavior. Long Wei was instantly fascinated by her, and the two of them slipped out of the warehouse through a hidden passage. As they wandered outside, Erica explained that she and her flock had been traveling the world, migrating toward Hawaii. But because their navigator wasn't very skilled, they had gotten lost and ended up on Long Wei's island instead. Hearing this blew Long Wei's mind. He couldn't believe there were ducks out there who could actually fly across the world. That was the very dream he had always carried inside him. Meanwhile, over at the ancient temple, Sheena had finally arrived. Chi and Chang had been sneaking behind her, waiting for the right moment to strike. Just as they tried to steal her belongings, the same officer from before showed up and caught them red-handed. But before they could be hauled away, Sheena intervened. Instead of letting them get arrested, she freed the two crooks. But she didn't do it out of kindness. Sheena had her own plan. She told Chi and Chang that she needed their help to catch a rare duck that supposedly lived on an island not far from the temple. If they could bring the duck to her alive, she promised them more money than they could ever dream of. Of course, Chi and Chang jumped at the offer, but the security officer wasn't convinced. He kept tailing them, certain they were up to no good. To shake him off, Chi and Chang disguised themselves and tricked him long enough to escape. Then, being the schemers they were, they came up with a shortcut plan. Instead of finding the real duck, they tried to use a fish that sort of looked like a duck to fool Sheena. Naturally, she caught on right away. Furious at their stunt, she snapped at them, leaving the thieves scrambling to make things right. The next day on the island, Long Wei spotted his father Pengli and the elders performing a ritual. They were putting up a warning sign meant to drive the commander and his flock away. But when the commander saw it, he blew up with anger. He flat out refused to leave what he still believed was Hawaii. To add insult to injury, he tore down the sign and replaced it with one mocking Pengli. Tensions between the two leaders only grew hotter. Things got even messier when Pengli and the commander noticed their kids, Long Wei and Erica, spending time together. Their children had formed a bond, but the two fathers couldn't let go of their grudge. That night, Long Wei and Erica secretly met up again, and this time Erica offered to teach him what he wanted most: how to fly. Their lesson was going well until, by pure bad luck, Chi and Chang showed up near the island. Trying to break in, they used dynamite on the entrance. The explosion caused water from the island's dock to drain out, sweeping Long Wei into the current. For a terrifying moment, it looked like he might drown. But Long Wei managed to flap his wings, and for the very first time, he actually took flight, soaring back onto the island. He had no idea that the whole disaster had been caused by Chi and Chang, who were secretly targeting him. The next morning, Pengli and the commander discovered that the lake water was completely gone. Both of them immediately blamed each other and were ready to go to war. Long Wei tried to calm them down. He admitted that part of the chaos was his fault and defended the commander's flock, insisting they weren't bad ducks. He even explained how Erica had been trying to teach him to fly, but his father wasn't convinced. Pengli attacked the commander again, knocking him down in anger. That's when Chi and Chang made their move. Slipping onto the island during the chaos, they captured the commander, mistakenly believing he was the legendary sun duck that Sheena wanted. Just as they dragged him away, a glowing sun symbol appeared on Long Wei's body. At that moment, he realized the truth. He was the real sun duck. Long Wei felt crushed knowing his father had kept the secret from him all this time. Pengli confessed that he had lied only to protect him, because the sun duck's destiny meant risking his life to save the world from the dark monster. Long Wei didn't want to let fear control him anymore. When Erica ran off to rescue her father, Long Wei followed, determined to help. Chi and Chang eventually brought the commander to Sheena at the old temple. The security officer tried once again to stop them, reminding everyone that poaching rare animals was against the law. But Sheena dismissed him easily and kept her focus on her prize. She revealed her true plan: to capture Long Wei, the real sun duck. Using the commander as bait, she lured Long Wei inside and trapped him in a special cage. This cage was cruel. It shrank smaller and smaller every time the prisoner tried to escape. Sheena told Chi and Chang to guard him carefully, because the next day, under the sun's rays, she would sacrifice the sun duck. Later, Erica showed up and tried desperately to free Long Wei and the commander, but she couldn't unlock the cage. With no choice, she rushed back to the island to gather help. Meanwhile, Sheena finally revealed the dark truth to Chi. She wasn't just a mysterious traveler, she was actually human. Years ago, she made a pact with the dark monster. In exchange for eternal life, she had to sacrifice the sun duck and absorb the sun's energy into herself. To begin her ritual, she even betrayed Chi, sacrificing him first as part of the process. Dragging Long Wei up to the top of the old temple, Sheena started absorbing the sun's power. The commander, tied up, managed to use Chang's innocence to his advantage, convincing him to untie him before it was too late. At the same time, Erica convinced both the commander's flock and Pengli's ducks to unite. Even Pengli and the elders, after some fast training, took flight for the very first time, all heading toward the temple to help. When they arrived, Pengli fought Sheena with whatever makeshift weapons he could find. His attack was strong enough to tear away her disguise, revealing her true form. She had been using stolen human skins to stay young. Still, Sheena's power grew as she absorbed more solar energy, nearly crushing Long Wei in his shrinking cage. Erica and the others tried to destroy her machine, but she fought them back. The more energy she absorbed, the younger and stronger she became. But Long Wei wasn't helpless anymore. He channeled the solar energy inside himself and used his new strength to break free. Flying in circles around Sheena, he distracted her, slowing her down. Outside, Erica used one of Long Wei's inventions to smash Sheena's absorber. The machine shattered, and all the stolen energy rushed out of Sheena's body, aging her once again. Desperate, Sheena pulled out another device and released poisonous smoke, trying to keep her grip on the sun's energy. The chaos spread beyond the temple. The sun itself began to shrink, and darkness started creeping across the earth. Realizing how bad things would get, Long Wei made a decision. He flew straight into the sunlight, drawing the energy into himself. He was ready to sacrifice his life to save the world. In the end, his courage paid off. Long Wei restored the sun's energy and managed to survive, proving himself as the true sun duck. With the dark threat finally defeated, the ducks returned home to their island, filled with relief and gratitude. Peng Li threw a grand feast in honor of the commander and his flock, and at last, Long Wei and Erica were free to enjoy their friendship, maybe even something more. And that's where the story leaves us, with a powerful reminder. Honesty within families is one of the most important values we can live by. If we're truthful with one another, no matter our age, gender, or where we come from, we make the world a brighter, kinder place.